Alright, so I'm going to be putting on a master link. So master link comes, with the link right here. So I already put grease on it. I put the 2 O-rings on the outside, slide it into the chain, get the other end, slide it into the chain. Come on. Alright, like so. Now you have 2 more O-rings. I'm gonna grease this side a little bit more. So use plenty of grease. Don't worry, you don't have to be skimpy on the grease. And they give you more than enough grease. All right. Then put the O-ring on. So on each pin. You just put your plate on. There's a side with letters and words, what chain type of chain it is, and the other side nothing. So the side with the letters and words on the outside. And slip it on like so. And this is where you need the chain tool. The chain tool to put this on properly. So I'm using a DID chain tool. I think this is the lower cost version. They have another version of this that's even more expensive, really expensive. That's the shop version. This one is just a sort of a home version. See, I haven't used this thing in a while. Every time I use this thing, I always forget how to use it. There's a tool. They have little markers here for you to line up where the pins are and everything. So right now we are just gonna be pushing the plate together. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. So in here I have a little pin tool that you actually flip around. Right, flip around. You actually use this side to push a pin through the link, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to be using this side. This is the side that rivets that pin, so it spreads out the pin, that pin head, right? So it stays, right? And this side actually, this is the side, let's look at from the side view here. This is the side that goes in on this side, I believe, like so. All right. So for now, I'm just going to use this to push the pin through. Actually, not the pin, but the plate on. Push the plate on. Something doesn't look right. Actually, it should be on this side. Pushing the plate on, like so. And in here, there's on this end of the tool, there's divots. So the hole right there is for pushing the pin through. So if you have one of these pins, you can push it through. So we won't be using that hole, but we're using the other 2 divots. So see how the pins here, so these pins right here, or these heads, will line up with that divot, right? Like so. So we're good there. Okay. On this side, we're gonna be facing. You have the side with the multi-step and one step. The side with the multi-step is gonna be facing in. Like that. And here we have on this tool we have one side with a little ball, and the ball goes into this impression on top here. See the AB. For doing this, it doesn't really matter because we're not actually using the actual pin itself, so there's no concern there. We're just using the tool head there to push the plate together only. So I have my adjustable wrench to hold the tool itself, and the 19mm to tighten this part down to push the plate in. There's only so much it will let you go in because of the heads, so you can't just over press that plate in. Let me show you that real fast so you know what I'm talking about. Right, the head sticks out a certain amount only, so this step here, that's what the steps are for. So if you look at the side profile here, once the head comes through and it hits that step in here, it can't squeeze the plate anymore. Same thing with the divots on this side. You know, that the head on here on the other side will touch against the inside of the divot, so that way it doesn't get pushed through anymore. So that's kind of built in right there, so that's cool. It makes it a lot easier to do this. So go back at it. All right. So this tool makes it so much easier. This is probably at least the DID, I think is the best ones on the market. I've used a lot of different chain tools and they're all kind of wimpy. You know, they might be okay for a bicycle chain or something smaller type of chain, but you know, these 520s, 525, 530 chains, man, you need one of these big heavy duty tools. Otherwise, they won't work very well. So I'm gonna cinch this down. It's kind of difficult because everything here is kind of wiggly and wobbly, and so I'm gonna cinch it down as best I could. So that's good there. Pretty much stops. So I'm good. So I know I have the proper amount of the proper amount of my head sticking out on that side. So I'm good there. So now, this is the tricky part here. So now that we got to that part, now we need to basically rivet that head, rivet those heads, and this is where the slot B side works. Switch it over to the slot B side, and you take this piece off. You don't need this anymore. This piece right here is to press those plates together. Now the head on here. Oops, where's my head? So now the head on here. Remember this side that pushes the pins through all the way through the chain. So we're not using that side. We're using the other side. The side that rivets the head itself. So like so. I mean, make sure everything's lined up properly. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. So everything's lined up properly. Looks good there. So this is the tricky part. This is the part where you could screw up if you do this. If you squeeze this in too much, it could cause problems. So everything's lined up. I'm good there. So basically, you could over rivet that head, so you could cause problems, and the plates will squeeze too tight. And what happens is that it will over squeeze the O-rings, and the O-rings won't do its job basically. So I have to be really careful when I do this. Stop there, a little bit at a time. You know, don't need to push it. So let's just look at it real quick, see how that looks. I can see the pivot. It's a little bit flared out right there a little bit, but it's not quite enough. I'm gonna go over to do the other side. So again, I'm gonna just do a little bit at a time. There's no reason to you know, do it all fast, because you're just gonna screw things up. So now I'm gonna have to line up. So here on it's marked on my B point here. I have to line it up so the way my rivet head tool is lined up with the pin on the left side. So I actually have to actually move this whole plate over one side, or I could actually flip this thing, but I'm just gonna move the whole thing over one side. If I leave it on the original master link and I switch it over to A basically centers that pivot tool is the center of the plate. So that's not gonna work. I'm gonna have to leave it at B and just slide the whole entire tool over, which is fine. That works. Okay, like so. Oops, not dang it. A bit of my tool didn't line up there. I started tightening it up. That was not good. Good thing that I caught myself, so I didn't squeeze it much. So let's see. Hopefully I didn't screw up that head. It's kind of easy to mess up if things are not lined up properly. I think it's lined up right. Yeah, it looks like it's lined up right. Okay, there it goes. It feels right too. Actually, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good there. I'm gonna go a little bit at a time again. I'll go just a little bit at a time. You don't want to overdo those heads. Just in case you do something you screw up. So I had slightly off alignment, and it wasn't centered on the rivet head right here. It was slightly off, so I could actually see that indentation. But the good thing is that it didn't mess my thing up, because I can feel my link right now. There's no resistance as I'm flexing this. It feels like any other link. So because I didn't squeeze it that far. So I'm gonna go back to this front side. Remember, a little bit at a time. Always a little bit at a time. Some people, I don't do this very often. The last time I did this was probably 2 years ago. So you have to be mindful. If you don't do it very often, you have to be mindful. You know, when you don't do something very often, you kind of lose the feel, the touch of it. If you do this every day, you'll have a certain feel and a certain touch to it. And you don't have to think about it or anything. You could just feel it. So it's a little better there. My link is still good. Let me do this other side again. I'm gonna flip this thing around, because I want to keep this whole tool on this one link only. I think that's a little bit easier. It feels a little bit easier, I think. That's movement basically. Excuse me. Just had lunch earlier. Again, just a little bit at a time. That's all you need, a little bit at a time. My rivet head's a little bit cockeyed, because that initial one I did kind of threw it off center. But everything still feels good. I think I'll do one final one on this right hand side one. So normally, let me take this out and show you guys. Normally, when everything's done proper, usually, not always, usually as this goes on here, this head, the outer side of this head here should sit flush with the plate, but that doesn't always work. This is a DID tool. This is a JT chain, so you know, there's a little bit of a possible that there's a little bit of fitment where it's not perfectly, mated with each other. So you have to be careful with that. So again, if you over rivet basically what's gonna happen is you're gonna press it. The problem you're gonna have is the plate's pressed in too far, and you distort the O-ring, and then the O-ring won't be able to do its job anymore, and also you have crap passing the O-ring, and that link is gonna wear out a lot faster than all the other links. So it's just about done, I believe. Let's see. Again, it's still loose, or still no, I can still wobble it freely. I'll do this side. I'll put this around. This side's slightly off-centered just because my very first one that I pushed on, the head wasn't completely lined up with the this head wasn't completely lined up with the pin. It was kind of slightly off a little bit, so it actually distorted the pin, this rivet head right here, slightly. So I have to be mindful of that. So I'm paying attention to that head. As soon as it touches the plate, that's pretty much where you stop. Don't go any further. I think I'm just right there. My tool head just well, not quite. I see like a tiny speck of light in there on one side. On one side more than the other, and again that just has to do with that initial rivet where I kind of screwed up a little bit. The alignment's slightly off. So that's where that's from. I think I'm not gonna do any more on that side, just because I might start pushing the plate in too much, and it's gonna cause binding of that link. Again, it's not binding right now. There's no distortion. I'm gonna move it side to side a little bit, see if there's any sloppiness in that link. I don't feel any sloppiness in the link at all. So this first one, I'm gonna do a little bit more, because my tool head hasn't quite touched the plate yet. Almost there. I probably had maybe another 0.5 millimeter or so. Yeah, I can see a little bit of light there. Probably like 0.5 millimeter or even less. So not much at all. You can see it from this angle. Almost there. Just about. A little bit more. Okay, that's it. Well, that's about it. So again, there's no binding. Everything's riveted out pretty good, thread out good. No looseness. That's it. So it took a little bit longer than I normally take, but again, and the reason why is because this is a DID tool and this is a JT chain. So I want to make sure that everything was compatible, and it was, but you never know, So everything's nice, moves nice and freely. I don't feel any side to side slop at all. No binding. So I'm good there. All you need to do is just adjust the chain and adjust the chain tension and tighten up the axle. All right, thanks for watching.